Fall is here, hear the yell, back to school, ring the bell, brand new shoes, walking blues, climb the fence, books and pens. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Yes, I can tell that we are gonna be friends.
Alright guys, our project is on No Child Left Behind. Do we know what this is? Alright, let's go see if anyone else does. Let's go figure this out.
It means that every child has an opportunity to come away with the same education that everyone else has, whether or not they get it the first time or they get it the second or third or fourth time.
It was a law passed by President George Bush about how he would try to provide education for every child and make sure that no child is left behind.
It's standardized testing for schools in the United States, and it keeps the level of, it keeps a bare minimum for high schools.
It's if one student isn't succeeding along with the rest of their peers, if they won't get looked over and they'll get help in being on the same page as everyone else.
Hey guys, it really seems like nobody really knows what No Child Left Behind is. I mean, I guess we're gonna have to do some serious research.
President Bush signed the No Child Left Behind Act into law back in 2002. It requires schools to test students in grades 3 to 8 every year in reading and math.
Now it's up to you, the local citizens of our great land, to stand up and demand no child, not one single child in America, is left behind. Sure, the No Child Left Behind Act continues to work. You measure every day. That's why you're successful business people. I mean, you know what your business is doing. I believe we ought to extend that same principle to our public schools and ask a simple question. Can a child read at grade level? And in order to determine that, that's why you measure. And if the answer is yes, we all say great. If the answer is no, the question will be, then what are you going to do about it? So the principle behind the No Child Left Behind Act is to set high standards, believe every child can learn, and measure to see if we're getting results. And Congress need not weaken such a good piece of legislation.
No Child Left Behind implements systematic testing that provides data to highlight which schools are not teaching basic skills effectively, so that interventions can be made to improve outcomes for all students.
No Child Left Behind seeks to narrow class and racial gaps in school performance by creating common expectations for all.
NCLB requires schools and districts to focus their attention on the academic achievement of traditionally underserved children.
Four out of 10 students are a minority, yet teachers are 90% white. 40% of schools have no minority staff whatsoever. No Child Left Behind forces schools to make accommodations for students of other languages and further assists the facilitation of an increasingly diverse student body.
Some people on the con side of No Child Left Behind like to say that it is discrimination to children with special needs. It is reported that attitudes and expectations for these students have changed. Having the No Child Left Behind Act highlights the focus on having disabled students more on their radar, and that because of this, that they will have more academic attention and resources that they deserve.
Cultural capital is a sort of intangible currency towards your social status. No Child Left Behind helps to ensure every child, no matter their socioeconomic level, can get a good education. ultimately raising their cultural capital in the world.
Working on this video has really taught me a lot about No Child Left Behind. I really didn't know much about it at first, so I've definitely learned a lot in the process, and it's definitely opened my eyes to some of the different sides of what it is and what it's about.
I think the idea of No Child Left Behind is really good because it's bringing all the students together to where they can work to their fullest potential and then be pushed to work to their fullest potential. It's giving them just the knowledge and what they need to do to get better will help them to increase their skills and their intelligence from high school all the way to college through when they're adults, and that's why No Child Left Behind is a good idea.
Both my parents were teachers, and so I've known about No Child Left Behind and its policies for a while now, but doing this project was really just broadened my mind on its concepts as well as what it's really trying to do. I knew that it's a flawed system, but even though because of that it has many good things going for it as well as many possibilities in the years to come.
No Child Left Behind is alright because my little sister is actually placed under more pressure to achieve, and so she actually excels under that because she studies so much harder and is able to have much higher math skills than she would have otherwise.
My experience with this project was that, of course, there's problems with all bills such as No Child Left Behind. But if you focus on the big idea of education for all students and equal opportunity, that's what this country's all about, and that's why No Child Left Behind is a great thing.
This project has been really interesting to study, and one thing that I've noticed is that No Child Left Behind is kind of a necessary evil. It's based on great ideas and based on great concepts, and if implemented the correct way can be very successful, and through some of the statistics that we've seen, it has. So this project has definitely opened my eyes more towards No Child Left Behind, because I'll be honest, I was definitely somebody who was against it right off the bat, but I feel like it is something that needs to be there because it is based on great ideas and great concepts that should be taken throughout any education level. Alright guys, so in conclusion, No Child Left Behind has many benefits, and one of the things that we've seen so far is that 9-year-olds, people who have been totally been affected by No Child Left Behind in their education process, have shown the highest scores in over 28 years. Other things that we've seen with No Child Left Behind is 43 states, including the District of Columbia, have shown improvement or have held steady from where they were before. It also shows, something else that No Child Left Behind does is give information to the military and access to campuses for recruiting. Something else that No Child Left Behind did is it gave a lot of states and schools access to data where they could follow the standardized test scores and follow in the progress of their students. Something else that we've seen from benefits of this is minority students, including African American and Hispanic students, their scores are at an all-time high right now also and have improved dramatically since this program has been developed. And probably one of the most important things is that No Child Left Behind demands for high-quality teachers. It makes sure that the teachers that are teaching these students are actually skilled and knowledgeable and for everything that they have to teach and are held accountable for.
Fall is here, hear the yell, back to school, ring the bell, brand new shoes, walking blues, climb the fence.